Look, and Kate she's one of them weeks ago on the Talk I want to thank the TDs here that all parties who sent us support the sympathy to Deputy Collins on his tragic loss at this time, and his brother Danny and the mother of young men also. And I want to thank Triona and Breen O'Donnell in our office for putting this motion together. But of course I am disappointed, Minister, as usual, the government have your counter motion. And look, everyone knows there's something wrong. And you quoted figures there, or someone did earlier, that the spending has increased by 800,000, up 40% since 2019. It might be, but it's not about money. It's about mismanagement and just pure neglect of rural areas, and we hear urban areas as well, across the GPs, and they're not valued, and they're not respected. And they have a never-increasing workload. And they're there now, and in my own county, every day ads on Tip FM and other radios saying, please do not attend Limerick University Hospital, please do not attend, South Tipperary General Hospital, go to your GPs. You can't get a GP. Someone phoned my own practice last week, not myself, and 2.5 weeks waiting list, non-emergency. Blood pressure she wanted to test. So that could really become an emergency. So there is unbelievable pressure on them. And this motion is fair, it's balanced, and it's calling for an interdepartmental group to set up to a kind of task force and report back in a short number of weeks and do something about this, not just churning paper here, not just speaking volumes of words here, not just talking about the stories that the Deputy Harkin had about women after having mastectomies and can't get the shock and cruelty inside in the HSE, inhumanity that's in there. There are thousands of good people working there, we know that, and thousands of good things happen there. And like we had it last night with the poor misfortunate children up in the gallery, not children, young adults, suffering with scoliosis for so long, to have to come up to protest outside the gates, to have to come up to the gallery here to appeal. I mean, that's going on every year, and it hasn't been dealt with. Why the human system is so inhumane that it can't say, look, we have to deal with these scoliosis children. We have to deal with, I could go across a whole plethora of areas. And Dr. Michael Harty, former Dr. Dawn, he talked to in the Rural Independent Group, he got elected here on No Doctor, No Village. Wonderful campaign, and how right he was. He came in here then, and the government asked him would he chair the Sláinte Care, and he did. And spent hours and hours and months of dedicated time. And as we approach the 7th anniversary of the Sláinte Care, coming up in May, in a month's time, 6 weeks' time, that nothing really has happened on the Sláinte Care. And that's what's wrong with this system. We keep doing reports, investigations, inquiries, and we keep making the system bigger and fatter and largesse, and no services on the ground, no services out in front line. Full stop. We're told there recently, a number of days, do we hate to see recruited 1,000 people last year. I'd love to know how many more pin pushers. I'd say 92% of them. This is the problem. It's just got bigger and bigger, and it has cannibalized itself and is unable and unfit for purpose. We've heard my colleagues here mention many areas around the country and other TDs as well. When we had our GPs, God, I remember when I was a young fella, and the GPs could come out to you, but now they're overwhelmed. And then you roll out different schemes, all under 6s, under 8s, free GP access, and then under 12s, and roll out schemes with free contraceptives. Roll out every scheme you like without any proper consultation. Okay, you have the two associations, I don't know, but they're like all the unions. They get in, they're in awe when they get into government, when they arrive in government buildings for negotiations, and they cave in, and they forget their members on the ground. I want to salute the GPs up and down the country, and their staff, and their nursing staff and ancillary staff, for the way they have they deal with people and try and manage the situation. What I am critical of, and this is personal opinion, is since COVID, this diagnosis by a receptionist of a person over the phone or a person standing in front of them through a glass screen. They have suddenly become GPs and can diagnose you by just asking you questions. That is a very poor practice, and it's going on in whole scale. I get awful embarrassing stories about it, asking awful questions in front of a full waiting room, shouting to a screen to ask them, where have you the pain, how do you feel, and throw you out a urine bottle and go in and fill that up or something. That is inhumane. That is because the pressure you're under with the doctors, you can't get to see him. We have the figures are there, you got them quoted here, we all know them, that the amount of people are going to retire and the ratio of them retiring, and you have figures there to have so many per 12,000. You're failing every figure that you have nominated, and you're failing the people. And I think it was Taoiseach, two, Gáir Taoiseach Ahern and Taoiseach Cowan, Brian Cowan, told me at different times that they were going to abolish the HSE. But no, it's got bigger and more powerful and more cover-ups and more unaccountable and more disrespectful to the people and the public representatives as well. And we're like with primary care centres built, we close a hospital in Carrick-on-Shore, and then we have a primary care White Elephant built there on a floodplain, and it's 3/4 empty. And I heard stories today of primary care's interest. I saw the Nina spank new nursing unit open in my own, not open, completely finished, built, kitted out, and everything else equipped, and no one to staff it. What kind of lack of joined up thinking is going on? And this is the problem. Take the Children's Hospital and the damage, impact that's having on children. First of all, in the wrong place, and it'll never be a proper hospital, it'll never be accessible. No helipad, only a small helipad can land on the 3rd floor. So the blackguarding and the waste that's going on, and the accountability, and we have CEOs after CEOs come in there and getting huge remuneration packages, and no accountability. As above all, no accountability. Ask a question here into the Minister, it's a matter for the HSE. It's a handy stalking horse to fob off people, to hell out the corners, to go where you like, and we have not got the resources that we should have. I want to also mention dental care. Huge pressures under dental care in the GMS system. They just can't take them on anymore. I have one of my own dentists in Clonmala, anytime I went to him, he's so concerned. He's a wonderful man on the Key in Clonmel, and he's doing, it's going on in age like any of us, and no one to replace him, and the system being abandoned. So we'll see then all the doctor conference and the minister addressing him every year. Shortly now they'll be on in early summer, and great things happening. And the ministers come out and read scripts, and you do. I acknowledge there are good things happening, but our GPs are the lifeblood of our community. What's going on in Swan and Bear, as Deputy Harkin mentioned, is happening everywhere. We have practices taken out of rural villages, bigger primary care centres take them over, but they have no interest in them really, and they want the people from those rural areas to go in. Tavistock and Ballia, go into the town, and you have less and less service then. The rural GP and the nurses in them and different dispensaries all over the country did a valuable job for decades. And now the HSE won't give any proper support to, if a place is closed down, if a doctor's retiring, they have to build a new centre themselves, and there's no proper funding for that. They have insurance, they have health insurance, obviously, or mitigation against claims. They have all kinds of issues, light, heat, you name it. A small business, really, they are, and they might have up to 10 staff. So your eye's not on the ball here, Minister, neither is the government. But I don't know what's to come over your government, as I said here. But Sláinte Care, grandiose document. A lovely, big glamorous document. And I said Deputy Hartley chaired that committee, but it's not been implemented. So, and we'll keep doing reports, and we'll keep doing more reports, and renting offices all over the country, space to store these reports instead of action. So it's time that, the minister's ponied up. Minister Harris, Minister Donnelly didn't even take his time or worthwhile to come in to address this motion today. Nor did he did any you say why he wasn't here. If he's out of the country, if he's sick, fair enough, but he hasn't even the interest in listening to us. So he knows it all. So he doesn't want any solutions. This motion is calling for practical solutions, for a task force to be set up to decide once and for all to deal with this problem, not pushing paper, motions, everything else, and voting on them and just letting them into oblivion. Or the practice that you've had here in the last while of accepting motions and then put them into some pigeonhole somewhere and letting them there. Your job is to govern here. Your job is to deliver services for the people. We then have the migration situation into the country. Everywhere you go in every town and village, huge explosion in population and no services for them. GPs, hospitals, dentists, you name it, schools, anything else, put more pressure on. Is it this government, your government, have a will to destroy the public services that we have out there for our public, to deny our people public services that they're entitled to, basic fundamental health care, human rights. We're going out to with doctors going out to the field hospitals doing cataract operations. Deputy Hilly Ray Michael Collins here bussing people out to Belfast to do. We can't do them here. So you can find the money under that scheme. And that scheme is operating on the reverse as well, for people from the north and other countries are coming here for those operations. It's fascinating in the extreme. So I'd ask you not to be opposing this motion, to listen to the voice of reason, everyone that spoke here this morning, and try and do something for the country to ensure that we have some modicum of GP service again and take the pressure off the overworked GPs that we have.
Thank you.